Hey everyone, we're back with another ranking video. Let's dive into discussions about the best games we've played. Over the past decade, the Game Awards has been the go-to for celebrating gaming excellence. So I'm taking a look at the last 9 Game of the Year winners, from what I think is the least to the absolute best. Alright, let's dive straight in. Out of the past 10 Game of the Year winners, the weakest in my opinion has to be Overwatch, which snagged the 2016 title. Unfortunately, it's no longer playable as the original game has been replaced by Overwatch 2. Back in 2016, Overwatch was the talk of the town, with its crazy hype and addictive gameplay. Personally, I was hooked from day one, but over time, the updates and changes just didn't hit the mark for me. It's sad to see how Overwatch's popularity has dwindled over the years due to what I'd call some serious mismanagement by Activision Blizzard. Sure, there are still players, but it's nowhere near its former glory. Despite its downfall, I can't deny the fun I had in 2016. The teamwork, the diverse characters, the maps, and even the lore. It was my go-to game back then, but nowadays you won't catch me playing it at all. It's a shame, really. But hey, at least in 2016, Overwatch was on fire. Now let's talk about Dragon Age Inquisition, the inaugural Game Awards Game of the Year winner in 2014. It marked the beginning of what we now know as the Game Awards show, with Jeff Keighley taking the helm. I remember feeling a bit puzzled when Dragon Age Inquisition clinched the title. In 2014, there were other games like Mario Kart 8, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, South Park, The Stick of Truth, and Sunset Overdrive that left a bigger impression on me. However, none of these were even nominated for Game of the Year. Among the nominees, including Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Hearthstone, Dragon Age, Inquisition, and Middle-earth. Shadow of Mordor, Dragon Age. Inquisition probably stood out the most. Personally, I lean more towards Dark Souls 2, but I can't deny that Dragon Age Inquisition was a solid RPG. It improved upon its predecessors and offered a compelling story, decent characters, and enjoyable combat mechanics. While it didn't blow my mind like Mass Effect did, it was still a good game overall. However, in comparison to the other contenders, it falls a bit short for me. Nevertheless, if you're into RPGs, it's definitely worth a try, though I'd also recommend checking out the other games from that year, especially Mass Effect. Next, we have It Takes Two, the winner of the 2021 Game of the Year. I must admit, I was surprised by this win, but it was heartwarming to see Joseph Fares, known for his memorable moments at the Game Awards, finally receive recognition for his game. It Takes Two is a fantastic experience, offering a variety of gameplay styles that all feel great to control. The game's emphasis on cooperation makes it stand out as one of the top choices for co-op gaming in recent years. Despite tough competition from heavy hitters like Deathloop, Metroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet & Clank, Rift Apart, and Resident Evil Village, It Takes Two emerged victorious. Personally, my favorite game of 2021 was Psychonauts 2, but seeing 2 3D platformers nominated for Game of the Year was a pleasant surprise. It Takes Two's success is well deserved, and I'm eagerly anticipating Hazelight Studios' next project. If you're looking for a top-notch co-op experience, It Takes Two should definitely be on your radar. Now, onto the most controversial game of all, The Last of Us Part 2, the 2020 Game of the Year winner. I must say, I was quite surprised by its victory. While I appreciate many aspects of the game, such as its gunplay, stealth mechanics, and world building, there are elements of the story, pacing, and character motivations that didn't quite sit right with me. In a year filled with heavy hitters like Animal Crossing, New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, and Ghost of Tsushima, I personally believe that all of these games outshine The Last of Us Part 2. But hey, that's just my take. I'm sure I've already ruffled a few feathers with this opinion. Nevertheless, if you're a fan of cinematic experiences and enjoyed the first Last of Us, it's definitely worth giving Part 2 a shot. However, if given the choice, I'd rather revisit Animal Crossing, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, or Ghost of Tsushima. 2020 was truly a stellar year for gaming, with even the smaller titles making waves. Let's not dwell too much on The Last of Us Part 2's win and move on to what I like to call the goated territory. At this point, it hardly matters what I say. Disagreements are inevitable. Next up, we have Sekiro, which clinched the 2019 Game of the Year title. I distinctly remember my surprise when it won, considering the competition it faced. While I thoroughly enjoy Sekiro and have recently praised it in a review, I can't help but question if it truly deserves the top spot compared to the other nominees. It was up against Borderlands Control, Death Stranding, The Outer Worlds, Resident Evil 2, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Resident Evil 2 and Smash Bros. Ultimate hold special places in my heart as some of my all-time favorites. However, Sekiro is undeniably fantastic. Its challenging gameplay, exceptional boss fights, and superb level design make it an unforgettable experience. I've sunk countless hours into it and replayed it multiple times because of how much I've enjoyed it. If you're a fan of From Software's titles or challenging games in general, Sekiro is a must-play. Its unique blend of hack-and-slash gameplay, punishing difficulty, and satisfying combat mechanics set it apart. Plus, its visuals, level design, and enemy encounters are top-notch. It may not be for the faint-hearted, but the satisfaction of mastering its gameplay mechanics is unparalleled. Sekiro epitomizes the get-good-or-go-home mentality, but trust me, it's worth the effort. Next up, we have God of War, the winner of the 2018 Game of the Year. This victory didn't come as much of a surprise given the immense popularity and acclaim surrounding the game. God of War 2018 marked a significant departure from the previous entries in the series, adopting a cinematic, over-the-shoulder approach akin to Sony's other acclaimed titles like Uncharted and The Last of Us. The standout feature of God of War 2018 is its narrative, which is truly exceptional. The bond between Kratos and Atreus is masterfully portrayed, offering some of the best father-son dynamics in gaming. The story is filled with gripping moments, twists, and turns that keep players engaged till the very end. Visually, the game is stunning, immersing players in its richly detailed world. While the gameplay might not have been the highlight for everyone, it still offers a solid experience, albeit different from previous entries. The competition for Game of the Year in 2018 was tough, with nominees like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, Marvel's Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead Redemption 2. While some may argue for Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War 2018 undoubtedly holds its own. Both games offer expansive, immersive experiences that leave a lasting impact. Ultimately, God of War 2018's triumph paved the way for the highly anticipated sequel, God of War Ragnarok. While Ragnarok may surpass its predecessor in some aspects, it's important to acknowledge the excellence of God of War 2018, which set the stage for what was to come. Next up, we have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, the winner of the 2017 Game of the Year. This game revitalized not only the Zelda franchise, but also Nintendo and game design as a whole. Its immense open world and unparalleled freedom set a new standard for exploration and gameplay. Many games today draw inspiration from its groundbreaking approach. While it wasn't my personal favorite game of 2017, facing tough competition from Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, PUBG, and Super Mario Odyssey, it's easy to see why Breath of the Wild took the crown. PUBG's nomination is amusing in hindsight, considering its early access status, but it's undeniable that Breath of the Wild left a lasting impact. Despite some minor flaws in its story and pacing, it's hailed as one of the best Zelda games ever made, offering endless replayability and countless ways to tackle challenges. 2017 was a standout year for gaming, especially for Nintendo, and Breath of the Wild was the cherry on top, showcasing the best of what the industry had to offer. Its recognition as Game of the Year was well deserved, solidifying its status as a true masterpiece. Next, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, the winner of the 2015 Game of the Year. This game holds a special place in my heart as one of my all-time favorites. Its captivating story, solid writing, and memorable characters, particularly Geralt, make it stand out. The world design is phenomenal, with each area offering unique environments and quests that keep players engaged for hours on end. Even side quests, which I typically don't enjoy, are exceptionally well designed and interesting. The combat, while not universally loved, offers satisfying moments, especially during monster hunts where preparation is key. The game's length and variety ensure that it remains interesting even after dozens of hours of playtime. The Witcher 3 received praise upon release, and it continues to be celebrated years later with expansions and re-releases on modern consoles. It's aged remarkably well and is often hailed as one of the greatest games ever made. If you haven't experienced The Witcher 3 yet, you're missing out on a gaming masterpiece. 2015 was a fantastic year for gaming, but The Witcher 3 truly stood out as something special. Next up, we have Elden Ring, the 2022 Game of the Year winner. Elden Ring feels like a blend of Breath of the Wild and Dark Souls, infused with fresh ideas, resulting in an unforgettable experience. My first playthrough of Elden Ring was nothing short of magical, and it remains one of my most cherished gaming memories. In my opinion, Elden Ring is the pinnacle of From Software's games. It boasts excellent combat, an expansive open world, superb level design, captivating dungeons, and breathtaking boss fights. The game's challenge, engagement, and fun factor never waver, keeping players hooked for hours on end. It's one of the best RPGs ever made, and the standout title in the Souls-like genre. Despite stiff competition in 2022, including A Plague Tale, Requiem, Horizon Forbidden West, Axiom Verge 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and even Pokemon Legends, Arceus, Elden Ring's victory seemed inevitable due to its massive scale and incredible quality. Its immense success demonstrates its widespread popularity, surpassing the niche status of From Software's previous titles. I eagerly await From Software's next project, but Elden Ring sets an incredibly high standard that will be difficult to surpass. It's truly one of the greatest games of all time. Here we are at the Game of the Year for 2023, and while the winner hasn't been announced yet, the lineup of nominees is staggering. From Alan Wake 2 to Baldur's Gate 3, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder, each game brings something exceptional to the table. Despite my involvement in Marvel's Spider-Man 2's development, I have to say that Baldur's Gate 3 stands out as the best among them. It's an RPG masterpiece boasting unparalleled depth, character, and customization. The story is gripping, with twists and turns that keep you hooked, and the characters are some of the best in any RPG. While its turn-based, D&D inspired mechanics might not be for everyone, Baldur's Gate 3 offers an unparalleled level of depth and replayability. Of course, each nominee has its strengths. Alan Wake 2 delivers a phenomenal story. Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom improves upon Breath of the Wild. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is a technical marvel. Resident Evil 4 Remake honors a classic, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder showcases inventive level design. However, Baldur's Gate 3 truly stands out as one of the greatest games ever made. Regardless of the eventual winner, 2023 has been an incredible year for gaming, with a plethora of outstanding titles that cater to every taste.